6.9 million people live in Lebanon. The population is suffering from a major crisis, the negative highlight of which was the terrible explosion at the port of the capital Beirut. But how can football continue to be played in the country under these conditions? We find out in today's video. A major government crisis is doing lasting damage to the country, and the result is great hardship among the population and also a very bad economic situation in the country. Of course, this also affects football in the country. But before we talk about the current situation, let's go back in history to the beginnings of football in Lebanon. The roots lie in the late 19th century. Foreign teachers began to popularize the sport at the American University of Beirut, and it was given a big boost by the immigration of some Armenians to Lebanon, who knew the sport from their old homeland. At the beginning, it was especially widespread in Christian schools in the country. In 1933, the leaders of 13 clubs met in Beirut to found the Lebanese Football Association. The LFA then joined FIFA 3 years later in 1936. Also at this time, the Lebanese Premier League was founded, which is still the highest league in the country. The record champion there is Al-Anza FC, a team from the capital Beirut, which has already collected 14 titles. Majed Osman has also been playing for the club since this year. Majed also plays for the national team, and I was able to talk to him about the league, which is of course also affected by the current situation in the country.
To be honest, the level is decent. It's quite good, but the professional structure isn't amazing. So obviously Lebanon is suffering from economic crisis at the moment. But even before, there wasn't an amazing infrastructure built around the football.
There are 12 teams in the league, 9 of which come from the capital Beirut alone. As record champions, Al-Anza have of course often had the privilege of representing the country in the continental championships. I took a look at the performances of teams from Lebanon in recent years. There's no Lebanese entry in the AFC Champions League history, so no team has made it to the continent's top club competition. However, if you look at the second most important competition, the AFC Cup, you will even find title winners from Lebanon there. You don't have to go far back, as in 2019 Al-Ahad FC beat April 25 SC of North Korea in the final. The best player of the tournament was also a Lebanese, Mehdi Khalil. In 2005 and 2008, Lebanese participants already reached the final, but lost. So you can see that the Lebanese clubs have been able to attract attention at international level. So let's jump straight to the national team and look at their performance. The first international match dates back to 1940 against the then mandatory Palestine. However, the national team lost clearly, and the first official international match against Syria 2 years later was also lost. The history of international matches also includes some prominent opponents, such as the legendary Ferenc Puskás from the Hungarian team in 1956. Lebanon only joined the AFC, the Asian Football Confederation, in 1964. But failed to qualify for the AFC Asian Cup in 1972. Lebanon qualified earlier for another tournament, the FIFA Arab Cup. In 1963, Lebanon even hosted the tournament and finished third out of 5 participants. This is still the best placing in the tournament. An Arab Cup was also held in 2021, but the team did not make it past the group stage. Coming back to the AFC Asian Cup, they also managed to host the tournament once. In 2000, Lebanon hosted the continent's best team, and its own national team took part for the first time. However, 2 draws and 1 defeat were not enough to get them through the group stage. A long break followed, but they were back for the last edition in 2019. The team managed to beat North Korea 4-1 in the group stage, but defeats to Qatar and Saudi Arabia meant they were out of the group stage as well. The next chance will be in China in 2023, where Lebanon has also qualified. Majed will probably be there then too, hoping that the long period of preparation can be put to good use.
Lebanon, I think we qualified for the Asia Cup, and that's going to be in 2023, which is a good achievement, and I think it gives us enough time to prepare for that tournament. Obviously before that, now the focus is still on the remaining games in the World Cup qualifiers.
The country has not yet managed to qualify for the big global tournaments like the World Cup or the Olympics, but they're still in a good position for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. They have made it to the third round and are in fourth place now. Lebanon will not qualify directly, but they still have a chance to make the playoffs, where they would face an opponent from South America. Feel free to write in the comments what you think about Lebanon's chances of qualifying for the 2022 World Cup. Finally, let's talk about the current situation in the country and its impact on football. Of course, the economic crisis does not stop at football, and so it is difficult for the clubs to pay the same wages as before the crisis. Most of the national players play in the domestic league, but even there, the conditions have changed.
I think the development in Lebanon has taken a hit based on political and economic factors. I think prior to 2019, before Lebanon went into economic crisis after the revolution, and then obviously COVID took another hit at the country. Before that, I think the Lebanese league was climbing, it was on a climb, and unfortunately, since the economic crisis hit and COVID and things like that, it's declining a little bit, because after what happened and after the economic situation, certain things changed, such as now there are currently no foreign players playing in the league, as in before there was 3 for every team, which usually does increase the level and everything involved.
Majed can also compare the level of football in Lebanon well with that in other countries, having grown up in England and also having played in the USA. While the technical level of players in Lebanon is very good, there are still difficulties when it comes to infrastructure. Better football pitches and stadium with space for even more fans could attract international players, because it is the lifestyle and the enthusiasm of the people that excites Majed. We can be curious to see what will happen to the country in the coming month and whether, despite all the difficulties, it will succeed in continuing the good development of the last few years. And perhaps we will even be able to see Lebanon at the World Cup for the first time next year. If you like this video, I would be happy if you subscribe to my channel Football Worldwide, so that you don't miss anything else. Join me on my journey through the world of football and write in the comments which country should be featured next. I'm happy about every travel companion. Take care, and I wish you a good start into the new year 2022.